Hey, everybody.
Hello?
30 more seconds.
Yeah, we'll give it a minute.
I am super psyched about today's topic.
But I am sad it's the last week.
I
I will say.
know. Time
I'll
is
say.
flying. I'm
Okay,
stressed.
well, we've got 20. Okay, so I'll start.
Yep.
And then people can trickle in. So welcome back, everyone, or those of you who are new to joining us. This is week 4 of our Women's Health webinar series, which we're very excited to wrap up. So we're going to talk a little on understanding our stress, our sleep, and our nervous system today. And I didn't introduce myself. I'm Kristen Turnbull. I'm a dietitian, certified health coach, and then Carly Smolik as well. We're both dietitians, health coaches with Thrive Health Coaching, which we offer free, confidential one-on-one counseling for any employee of Yale New Haven. And so, yeah, so today we thought we would wrap up this series talking about this topic, especially for women. You know, we often juggle high cognitive and emotional demands while navigating just hormones and life in general. So it's a really important topic to touch on. Plus, it kind of ties in everything, right? Our weight, our eating habits, our discipline and motivation, and how we feel day to day. So it's really important to touch on. And then just one more note too is that this, of course, is recorded and it's going to be on our YouTube site. The SharePoint website has been updated, if some of you have seen that. So we will link the new site in our chat at the end of this. So just today's goals. So we're going to really build a deeper understanding on how stress and sleep and our nervous system really influences our health. So we'll look at the body and the brain during the stress response, how the nervous system affects our weight, through hormones and cortisol, metabolism, fat storage, all that good stuff. We will go over the gut-brain axis and how important it is to understand how our bodies are actually feeling day to day. Has a lot to do with our gut. Regulation strategies, how to really calm our nervous system, how to potentially get better sleep or just be more mindful of getting higher quality sleep. And we'll talk a little bit on emotional eating as well. So some of this, if you had gone to the weight management webinar series, we touched a little bit on the emotional eating in that series, but we'll touch on it again today. Did I forget anything else, Carly? Are we good? I think I touched on everything.
Yeah,
okay. All right. So just a little bit of a review as we do each week. So we kind of did this last week, but just remembering that it's all about our mindset. It really, really is. Taking care of ourselves. It's not selfish, and it does take some planning and unlearning old habits, but really it's not anything to do with a quick fix. It's just finding ways that work for us during our stage of life. Eating well, obviously, hopefully some of you have been thinking more about the plate method when you're planning your meals, because it really does make a huge difference in how we feel. Are we getting fiber? Are we getting protein? Are we getting lots of vegetables? Are we getting healthy fats? Are we staying hydrated? Like, even if it's just 1 or 2 new things a day, at least it's something that you're thinking on. And then nutrients for gut health, of course. And then also talking a little bit on the nutrients for bone and muscle health too as we're aging. Calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, B12. And then, of course, embracing that the changes we experience are normal. And really, it's just how can I live the best life I can, longevity, be independent. And, whoops, one more click, I think. Taking the focus away from the scale per se and focusing more on my body composition. Am I really maintaining or gaining muscle and losing fat? And to trust the process, as we say. And then, of course, an opening quote, as we normally do. So, your body is the vessel that carries you through the story of your life. Treat it with the love, respect, and kindness you would offer a dear friend. And so really, this kind of sets the tone for everything we're going to talk about today, because this session is not at all about fixing. It's not really about pushing harder either and doing more. It's kind of understanding our own bodies, especially our nervous system, so you can work with your body instead of against it. Because stress is inevitable, right? We're going to have bad days or poor nights of sleep. But just knowing what you can do to nourish your body. And so really with women's health and the nervous system, so women's nervous system in general, highly responsive, and it's not a flaw, it's a strength in many ways. And in this modern world, it can come with a bit of a cost, right? So when we think of our hormones, so estrogen and stress, estrogen really helps regulate our emotional processing, right? And it detects any threats and how sensitive we are to cortisol, which is our main stress hormone. And so during different stages of life, whether it be any hormonal shifts, could be just experiencing the luteal phase, or perimenopause, postpartum, times when your hormones can fluctuate, we're even more sensitive to stress and can cause worsening mood symptoms or just worsening kind of resilience to stress, if that makes sense. And so women in general, we carry a lot of cognitive and emotional load, which predicts stress and burnout. And it is a lot of mental, right? It's a lot of cognitive, holding a lot of different responsibilities for planning and anticipating and monitoring. And it is known as cognitive household labor. Not everyone has this. Most women do experience it. And it's most strongly associated with stress and depression and burnout and exhaustion. So just that's kind of why we really wanted to focus on this today. And our hormones in general can make a difference in how we feel. And it's normal that we're kind of on that cycle. And then Carly?
Yeah, so I know for my health coaching participants in the past few weeks, I've been talking about the nervous system so much. And I know for myself, my nervous system usually is operating up here a little bit. So it's just knowing yourself, right? And knowing what's happening, why it's happening, and what you can do to just help it, right? It's all about just helping your body. It's never about being perfect and having everything lined up perfectly. It's just, what can I do for myself today with given the day that's, of everything that's happening and where I am in life. So I'm a big biology nerd. I love the biology of the body. And that's a big reason why I got into this field in the first place. It's fascinating to me. So quick review of what's going on physiologically inside your body when there's stress and the nervous system is activated. It is not just in your head. It's not just mental, emotional. Obviously, things manifest that way too, but there's a whole bunch of things happening all over your body. So quick review, central nervous system, you've probably heard of, that's your brain and spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system is kind of everything else. So you can see on this picture, the brain and spinal cord are in pink, and the peripheral nervous system is the yellow. So that's going all over your body. And again, constant communication between the brain and all of these nervous systems and every part of your body for sure. So there's always constant information going through the body from the neurons and the neurotransmitters, messages going everywhere telling your body to do things. And that's because your body's amazing. So let's remember that too. Our bodies are amazing machines that we just need to take care of. So under the peripheral nervous system, I'm going to skip through some of this stuff, just jumping to the autonomic nervous system. We have the somatic nervous system, but today we're actually going to talk about the autonomic nervous system, which includes your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response, the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest response. We love the parasympathetic nervous system, and the enteric nervous system, which is your gut. Your gut is considered its own nervous system because it has so many neurons, second only to the brain, and it kind of operates on its own a lot, connected again with what else is going on in your body. But this enteric nervous system is very important. That's your gut. So this is, again, those three nervous systems, the sympathetic, the parasympathetic, and the enteric, and just a little bit, diving a little more deeply into the biology and what's happening. Lots of things are happening when the sympathetic nervous system is activated. It's getting you ready to fight or run from danger. That's the brain is sensing danger. Again, back in the day, it was, physical danger. We living in caves and bears, and tigers and whatnot. We're not experiencing those dangers really anymore, hopefully, but we're just experiencing, stress from work and people and finances and just life. The world is a stressful place, but the brain is still interpreting as danger and stress in the same way. So these same things are happening inside your body to prepare your body to have extra energy to fight or run from danger. And the parasympathetic nervous system, when that's activated, it quiets down the sympathetic fight or flight system, and it activates just nice things like good digestion and, more clear, thought, and like other systems kind of kick back into normal function. A lot of systems get put on hold under stress so that the body can prepare to fight or run from danger. But again, we're just living with constant stress. And then the enteric system communicates constantly with the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system, because digestion is very much affected whether you're stressed or calm, for sure. Next slide, please. So this is a bunch of biology too, just to show you that, what's happening. The brain is sensing danger, and that kicks off a whole bunch of things, starting in parts of your brain, the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, down to the adrenal glands. It's amazing. Again, I think this is fascinating. There's signals happening, information's being passed, leading to the release of cortisol and adrenaline, and that sets off a whole bunch of things too. So acute stress, our bodies are really designed to handle small doses of stress to run or, protect ourselves from danger. And those things that happen, our focus is sharpened, our reaction time is sharpened. We have this rapid release of adrenaline and cortisol, which help, increase our energy. Also, similarly, the increased glucose being released into our bloodstream to help our muscle cells have more energy. And then eventually, when the stress has passed, the danger has passed, your body returns to baseline. So that's a great mechanism for us for survival, right? But chronically, which is what most of us are having, chronic stress, it's just this chronic elevated glucose level, which ultimately will, cause some issues. It will disrupt sleep and metabolism, and the sustained cortisol elevation kind of encourages extra fat storage, and also very much leading to burnout, immune system suppression, and fatigue, because it's exhausting for your body to live in a sympathetic nervous system activated state. So again, sympathetic nervous system, when the fight or flight is activated, digestion will slow down. The body draws blood away from the digestive system into the extremities to fight danger, to run. Blood pressure increases for that same reason, to give you energy. Cortisol and adrenaline are increasing. Immune function is suppressed. And fat burning is slowed down over time, and it's enhancing fat storage, again, for protection, which is an amazing survival instinct of our bodies, but that's not how we want to live every day, right? So the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, digestion returns to normal function, blood pressure steadies, glucose returns to normal, cortisol, adrenaline normalize, immune function returns to normal, and fat burning goes back into regular fat burning mode. So that's why it's just really important to consider stress response and how you're feeling and weight and overall health. So back to the gut-brain axis. We love talking about gut health. We've talked about it in a lot of our sessions and with you individually, possibly. And like I mentioned before, the gut is your second brain. There are millions of neurons lining your gut. And also 90% of your serotonin, one of your feel-good hormones, is produced in your gut. Most of your immune system surrounds your gut, and we have trillions of bacterial cells in our gut. That's your microbiome, if you've heard that word before. The microbiome is just this galaxy of bacteria living in your gut, from your mouth right to your large intestine. And that's when we talk about good bacteria, bad bacteria. So we want the good bacteria to, thrive and win this battle, that's always going on in our gut. Our bacterial cells in our gut outnumber our human cells. So that's how many microbial cells are in your gut, those bacteria, and we want to keep the good guys happy. So when stress is disrupting our gut health, which it does, there's something called intestinal permeability. That's kind of a fancy word. It just means bad bacteria and toxins are able to just squeeze through the intestinal wall and get into our blood circulation, and we don't want that. When we're very stressed, it definitely affects the health of the good bacteria in our gut, and sometimes that leads to more bad bacteria thriving and some of the good bacteria, not thriving. And motility changes. So you might experience bloating, constipation. Sometimes IBS can be related to stress as well. And like I said before, reduce serotonin. So when serotonin is not working well, it can affect our mood, our appetite, and how sensitive we are to pain. And then it's just kind of a feedback loop, because these things ultimately put a little bit more stress on the body, which contributes to the ongoing nervous system activation of the sympathetic nervous system. So sleep and weight, because we also want to talk about sleep too. We all know sleep is good for us and we feel better when we sleep. So when there is, ongoing poor sleep, there's a bunch of hormonal changes that happen too. Yay, right? It's not enough that we're ladies with, hormonal changes, but lots of things are happening if we're not sleeping well. Our leptin, which is our fullness hormone, that is decreased. And also our hunger hormone, ghrelin, is being increased. So we're feeling less full and more hungry. And that's not the direction we really want to be in. And we already know cortisol will also be increased from poor sleep, which then contributes to the cycle of activating the sympathetic nervous system. Insulin is often increased, and over time, the cells that are pumping out the insulin, they sometimes tire out, which can lead to just impaired glucose regulation, which can cause increased insulin resistance, which we know is a risk factor for diabetes. And growth hormone. We might think of growth hormone just in children, but we have it too. Growth hormone is responsible for, repairing and building new tissue in our body. And it's very much involved in glucose and fat metabolism. So when growth hormone doesn't get the chance to do its job overnight in a good night's sleep, those things are affected and our metabolism may decrease. And on the right is just some research, some nice little facts, that we find along our research. We're always reading the most current research about what's going on with lifestyle habits and how it affects our overall health and weight, for sure. And just confirming that sleep is important. Poor sleep has a big effect on hormones, but good sleep has a great effect on hormones and appetite. And especially the Mediterranean diet pattern is associated with better sleep.
And if you're not getting good sleep, it's okay. And you will take small steps, and I'll go over some strategies too to get better sleep, because we know that some nights are just not going to be your night for the sleep. So speaking of that, so emotional eating, or eating when we are feeling fatigued, very common. It really does happen to everyone, right? Emotional eating. And it actually usually happens before we actually reach for food, right? All these feelings are building, and then we tend to reach for food in order to deal with that. So stress eating really isn't the lack of control per se. It's just the nervous system seeking relief, just like Carly was talking about. So stress and fatigue increase our cravings for the comfort foods and the sugar and the refined foods. Because again, we're eating in response to emotions that are not so pleasant, right? Anxiety, stress, boredom, and we crave that dopamine, that serotonin, quick comfort, right? And so we tend to choose those foods. And they do improve our mood at the time, right? Feel pretty good eating the chocolate cake or whatever it is that you were craving. But then if we eat a lot of it or too much, we kind of feel pretty crummy afterwards, right? Because we get that crash. So if this is something that you struggle with, or you notice that when you're stressed or bored or any sort of uncomfortable emotion, if you turn to food often, it can lead to some unhealthy habits, long-term weight gain, or just general feelings of guilt and shame around food, which I know Carly and I are very passionate about speaking on. Is we have to drop that idea that all food is good or bad. It all fits. We just have to find a way for it to work within our diet. And then same idea, so low energy. So let's say you have a horrible night of sleep, like Carly was just saying, and you might notice the next day your motivation might be a little bit lower to want to chop the carrots or to want to have the protein-rich breakfast, and you might just be more so grabbing things to kind of keep your energy up, which tends to be more sugar, right? More carbohydrates. And the snacking too while watching TV or doing something where you're just exhausted and you just want to sit down and eat, that still gives you that comfort is very common as well. And just like Carly said, being overtired does affect our hormones that are controlling our appetite. And so therefore, we tends to lead to more cravings as well. So it can be a vicious loop sometimes if we're stuck in it. But it's okay, and we'll talk some strategies. And if you have any questions or want to work on this, please reach out to us because we'd love to help in coaching. But it's very, very common. Everyone experiences it. So something we like to speak on is the HALT method, which is essentially just stopping, taking a breath. What am I actually feeling right now before you go and you choose those foods? Because like I said, emotional eating really does happen before we actually reach for food, right? It can be hours prior. Maybe you had a very busy day where you missed lunch and you didn't get your snack and you didn't have enough water. So you come home and you're not only ravenous, you're also stressed from the day. So it's not the best combination. But it's really just important to understand what's driving the urge to eat. And we talked about this in the weight management series too. So H, hungry. Am I physically hungry or am I seeking comfort? That's just a question you can ask yourself before reaching for a snack. Not everyone gets a growling stomach, but you might notice, oh, I get really irritable or I feel shaky when I know that I have not eaten. That's a sign of physical hunger. Are you angry or anxious? Am I feeling frustrated, stressed, overwhelmed? Right? That could be a reason you're reaching for food. Lonely, craving a connection or comfort or some sort of support. That can be a really tricky one. And sometimes food is that support that you need in that time. Or you're just tired. You're mentally or physically drained and you're looking for quick energy. Very common. So really just even this month or the next few weeks, start to notice that, am I stopping and asking myself these questions before I reach for a snack? And just to better understand what you're actually going through. And then assessing, okay, what can I do instead first? If you're craving connection, can you go hang with your pet or go call a friend or, do something to kind of get yourself out of that mindset before you then assess, okay, maybe I am really hungry. I want to have something. But again, we will talk about that if you do want to start coaching as well. So just some nice sleep recommendations that can help. Obviously, like we both said, it's so hard to get a great sleep every single night, but here are some strategies to implement that you could try. A big one is aiming for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. It does help regulate the stress hormones like cortisol. And this is also really good to keep a consistent sleep pattern. So let's say one night you go to bed at midnight and get your 7 hours, but the next night you go to bed at 3 a.m. and get your 7 hours. It's still not ideal. You want to make sure you're getting somewhat consistent wake and bedtimes. Creating a wind down routine. So even if it's 5 or 10 minutes that you say, okay, every night at 10 o'clock, I turn off the screens, I'm dimming my lights, maybe I'll do some stretching, some sort of journaling, something to just kind of unwind. That can be really helpful for not only falling asleep, but staying asleep. Creating a cool and dark, quiet sleep environment can be very helpful. Also helps with night sweats if you're in that stage of hormonal life. And again, using relaxation techniques. Could look different for everyone. Some people like to go for a walk, journal, read, whatever it is that kind of puts your nervous system in that, relaxation state and ready for bed. Avoid anything too stimulating. So try and avoid having the stressful conversation with your spouse at 10 o'clock at night. Maybe wait to do that the next day. Just because that's just going to raise our cortisol up again. We want to make sure we are feeling ready for bed. Limiting alcohol and caffeine. Alcohol is a tricky one because it can help you fall asleep, but you often wake up because your blood sugar crashes too. And then caffeine can stay in your system longer than we think. So it can impact your sleep. And then daytime physical activity also improves sleep quality too, so it kind of makes sure you get some movement in. And then stress management, so practicing deep breathing is super, super beneficial. Meditation, and meditation doesn't have to be sitting doing the classic, sitting on the mat with your legs folded. It could just be walking as a form of meditation for you. It's a time to just think about anything else than what you are experiencing stress-wise and just have time to yourself. That could be your form of meditation. Gentle activities, yoga, stretching. Again, exercise really helps improve your mood, boosts your endorphins. Ooh, avoiding excessive high-intensity workouts can be good too, because it does put a lot of stress on your body. And I think we often think stress is like mental stress, but it's also stress on your body. Because if you're not getting enough recovery, you're going to be more stressed. So it's really important to moderate how much intense workouts you're doing. Identify the stressors that can be modified or delegated to someone else. Build in recovery breaks during your workday, and reach out to EFR and peer support, which we have with our employee well-being program. Employee Family Resources has free counseling for any employee and whoever's in your household. 6 free sessions to get some strategies that way.
And they do daily meditations, which are lovely.
They do.
Yes.
They do. And you can just sit at your desk and just not think about anything. Social connection. I love this one. When it comes to women's health, we got to surround ourselves with people who lift us up, we feel supported by, are respectful, and they energize you. Because that's how we live our most authentic self, is being around people who bring us up. So finding ways to stay connected to others, walking with a friend, phoning somebody once a week, setting up a lunch date, going to exercise classes, book clubs, volunteering, whatever it is, to make sure you are finding that social connection.
The old school things.
Yes. Because phones are great. They keep us connected, but nothing beats that one-on-one time, right, in person. So that can be a huge part of health and stress too, is finding connection. And then self-care. So self-care, as you can see in the picture here on the right, it just ties everything in. When you're looking after yourself, exercising, trying your best to sleep well, drinking your water, eating well, it seems like a lot. But at the end of the day, it's self-care. You're looking after yourself. It's not the bubble baths and the candles, although that's nice. It's a nice benefit. But we want to make sure we are looking after ourselves. So eating regularly, choosing the movement your body feels it can do that day, not pushing it too much. Honoring the need for rest, or noticing, oh, I'm feeling really stressed. I'm noticing I'm emotionally eating lately. I need to take a step back and reassess, what can I do differently to manage the stress? Practicing saying no, easier said than done, but it does help to just keep practicing when you can set a boundary. And then self-criticism, try your best to decrease that. If you catch yourself always hard on yourself, to stop and say, you know what, I'm in a new stage of life and I'm going to treat myself better going forward, because you're trying your best. And set realistic expectations. We all have so much on our plate. I know work for everyone has been busy lately. Like Carly and I too, like we are feeling the workload. So do what you can to just put yourself first. Prioritize your health. Self-care is simply looking after yourselves in ways you said you would. So remember that one. And then just in summary, and my nice AI photos that I made. So as women, you're not doomed. Like everyone has stress. We all experience it. It's part of life. But we're very responsive to it. So we have to start understanding and recognizing when you're under that stress, to insert strategies to help you calm down and not be so, as Carly was saying, in that chronic state of stress. It's our body giving us information. It's not a sign of weakness. It just means that our body hasn't really learned how to come back from safety or come back to safety when you're always in that fight or flight mode. And the main goal is to understand your body's own signals. What Carly may experience as stress may not be the same for me, but we both have to understand that that's okay. Like we both can experience different things and have different reactions, and just knowing how to recognize that. And so The goal is not to be less sensitive, but better supported and regulated. So huge, huge takeaways today is just stress is part of life, but understanding how your body works and all the biology Carly went through is probably helpful, because then you're going to think about it more now, especially the gut-brain axis, I will say. That one's a game changer.
So remember, your body's not working against you. It may feel like that, right? I think a lot of us think of, I need to change my body. My body's not doing what I want it to. Your body's responding to what's happening. So keep that in mind too. If we're in a constant state of stress, our bodies are often responding to that. If we're not eating well, our bodies are responding to that. If we're not moving our body's responding to that. If we're not sleeping well, our body's responding to that. So the best you can do is work with your body and give your body what it needs so that it can function optimally. And I know we've covered a lot in this series. We've talked nutrition, physical activity, sleep, stress management. You don't have to do all of these things all the time perfectly. Back to that, let's just get rid of the all or nothing mentality. Just because you're not sleeping well at the moment doesn't mean everything's lost. Like for right now, I'm not sleeping well. I'm so busy. I'm taking classes, and so I'm doing that in the evening. Parenting, work is very busy. All like good, like nice things, but it's just a lot. And so sleep is not going well for me, and I know that. So I'm not stressing about the sleep. I'm managing the things I can manage. I'm gonna make sure my nutrition is in a good place. I'm gonna make sure I'm eating consistently, and that I'm surrounding myself with choices that are just going to support my body. I'm going to make sure I'm drinking my water, trying to, drink my green tea and take some deep breaths, every once in a while. Maybe if I'm not exercising, in the traditional sense of exercise during my workday, I'm certainly going to stand more, or maybe just pace around my workspace a little bit just to, get some movement in. So that's what we mean. We just want you to do the things to take care of yourself each day. There's always good for you choices in your day all the time. You can choose what you're eating, choose how you're moving your body, choose to take deep breaths, things like that. There's always things that you can choose to do that are going to put good things in your body. And remember one of the slides from last week, the graph of just a series of like pretty good choices with, some choices that weren't perfect, but you're still making forward progress. Your health goals, the progress towards your health goals, it is always the cumulative effect of a whole bunch of choices in your day. It's never just up to one choice or one category that's make or break. It's the series of good choices over time that lead you towards your health goals. So always keep that in mind, because Kristen and I do not eat perfectly. We do not exercise perfectly. We are stressed. We don't always sleep well, but we do the things we can to just help ourselves be healthy. So thank you, everybody. This is the last of our Women's Health Series webinars. And like Kristen mentioned at the beginning, this is recorded. As soon as the recording is officially completed, Kristen will post it to our YouTube channel. So that's where it will be posted. In the link to that, Kristen, do you want to pop that in the chat?
Oh, yes, I will. Yes, I will.
And we, our Thrive Health Coaching SharePoint site was changed to a new SharePoint thing, and that was a bit of a bumpy ride where we lost a lot of the links and the pages off of our main site. So we're trying to fix it and add it back in. So do have patience with us because we're stressed. We're very busy. We're happily busy.
Fun.
We are trying to take care of that too. So we hope you enjoyed today's webinar, that you enjoyed this whole series if you were able to see it. If not, we encourage you to go look at the recordings and the other recordings of other webinars we've done. And we're always here for you. So if you have any questions, you can pop them in the chat. We're happy to stay on for a little bit to answer any questions. And yes, life is a series of choices. Right? It's a series of choices. You have choices. So even when you feel like you're in the throes of stress and emotional eating, remember that you have the power, you have a choice to change directions, to change the, that feedback loop and pull yourself out of the feedback loop and just make your next choice a good choice for sure. It's not easy. And there's things working against us. For for sure. But it's just recognizing what's happening in our body, in a physiological way. It's fascinating, and knowing you're not alone and there's reasons for things, and to always just love your body, work with your body, help it. Your body's trying to keep you alive. So help it do its best for sure.
Yep. And then hopefully we'll be back for some more webinars. Definitely, if you have ideas for what you'd like to hear more on, we're happy to take suggestions for topics. Like we love diving into the research, and so let us know. You can always email us, or if you're working with us, just mention something you want to learn more on.
We definitely have plans.
But we're going to take a little
more things. Yeah.
We're going to take a little break for Know Your Numbers, which, as you can see, I guess I stopped sharing. Whoops. But Know Your Numbers is coming up, and if you meet with us just once, you get your, how much is it, Curly? What's the incentive? I think it's
100. I thought it was 150. I think it's $100
I'm not
sure. Incentive.
Yeah.
Which is great. So, and I think the biometric screening, I think last year it was 300. I think this year it's worth 200. So keep in mind the biometric screening, the blood work and all of that is the have to do part of the Know Your Numbers incentive if you want the money. So I always tell people, just do it. It's free blood. See where you're at. I love to see where my blood work's at and just figure out.
I love to see where
what can I do? What am I doing?
What can I do? Yep.
Yeah. Big nerd. I love it.
Yeah. No, for sure. What was I gonna say?
We will do a men's health one to keep it fair. We're going to have a men's health.
Yes, we will.
Coming up too.
Yes. I think we're gonna so take a little break in the summer, let's say, because vacations and whatnot, and then September maybe do some. Just the fall is always a nice time for a reset. Whether it be you got kids going back to school or just, I love the fall. Even for myself, I find I do a nice spring cleaning, but fall version, I guess. So maybe we'll do something on that, like setting new goals for the fall or something like that. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Any other questions? How is the Know Your Numbers meeting with you two tracked? Okay, so we do that. We have a spreadsheet that we keep with who we're meeting with and all that jazz. So you wouldn't have to do. You just answered it.
You don't have to do anything. It'll be on us to do, and you won't see it immediately because we have to manually enter people into the Be Swift system, so that everything takes a little time. But we promise you, it will eventually be added. So if a lot of time, and we'll find out how long that takes. We don't know quite yet how long it's going to take from when we enter it to when you'll see it on your profile or in your account. And if we find that out, we'll let you know. Because last year, I think it was a couple weeks. It took a couple weeks to see it, which is always like, is it?
It's always panic.
We promise you it's gonna work out. And you can always reach out to us just to follow up. I certainly had people reaching out to me last year just to make sure everything was okay. And we always welcome that. We love hearing from you. But yeah, I hope you understand, and don't ignore your stress, because stress, I think, is a big culprit in women's health and weight.
And we're expected to just take it all on. It's almost like this.
Do it all.
It's like do it all
and that's smile.
It's like no.
No, I'm really up to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of unlearning habits too, especially when you're how you were raised, like how your mother or the women in your life were. Like you tend to take on a lot of that too. So, doing what you can.
Ask for help, right? It can be hard to ask for help with household chores or work, family stuff. But it's a village. It's a village not just to raise children. It's a village to get through life. None of us are
true.
None of us can do everything by ourselves. So know your limits and ask for help, and just make sure you're taking care of yourself. Like I said, I'm not really sleeping well this week, and I'm okay with that, because it just is what it is sometimes. And like I said, I'm just making sure I'm getting my my proteins and my fruits and vegetables and my fiber. So at least I know I'm just helping my body. I'm trying to quiet down the sympathetic nervous system that wants to really take over everything. Just trying to keep it down a little bit. Turn down that volume. And emotional eating too. I've been talking with people a lot about that lately. And and we know, once we know that you're just everyone's job is stressful, everyone's home lives are stressful, and not having time to eat or move your body, again, putting your body into this stressful situation, it's no wonder that there's emotional and stress eating for sure. Like Kristen said, it's your nervous system reaching out for joy and pleasure, for a quick hit of joy and pleasure. Also important though to remember that your body needs food. Your body needs fuel and food, and you need calories. So if you're just restricting all day and you're not understanding why you're hungry and reaching for food later in the day, that's a huge reason why. So you must make sure you're fueling yourself and eating enough earlier in the day, getting your nutrients, your proteins, your fibers, your fruits and vegetables, and healthy fats. And that's your best bet for trying to manage cravings and emotional eating and sleep and stress and all of that.
Yeah. If I have a busy week coming up on Sunday, like if I know my schedule is like booked, then I have to make sure that my lunches are at least somewhat ready, because I need to be able to grab something that I know is nutritious. Because if I don't have anything ready, I'll be eating the most random things, like no structure. So I need to always make sure, okay, do I have a protein at least cooked or something? Do I have some veggies chopped? Like, what do I have that I can grab easily? And I have to do that. And I usually put aside, a half hour, nothing crazy, on a Sunday, and just get her done, just so I know I have it.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Just a little. If you can have like Greek yogurts on hand, cottage cheese on hand, those are always a great grab. Have some frozen fruit, frozen berries, especially. That's perfect source of fiber. Make it easy on yourself. Again, we always say it does not need to be complicated. Get some 100% whole wheat Sara Lee bread and some deli turkey. It's going to be fine. Deli turkey is going to be fine. Just make some tuna salad, make some chicken salad, make a big thing of chicken salad to get you through the week. Have some hard-boiled eggs. I like the mozzarella string cheese too, so having those things on hand, again, that's going to give you some protein, which will help regulate blood sugar so that you're not on the blood sugar roller coaster, at least during a crazy stressful day, for sure.
Okay, well, this will be up on YouTube later, so if you want to rewatch, and I'll put the slides on SharePoint, and I'll post everything in this chat like I normally do. So,
thanks everybody.
Thanks everyone. See you back in the fall.
Take good care of yourselves.